Now, I know I'm going to lose some golf points for saying this, but I'm not particularly good at carving jack-o'-lanterns.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Monday, October 26th. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, we got Tass Miller.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Tassie. Back from camping from the week, we got the bearded one, Trey Kirby.
Hey.
Yo. We've got the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friends.
Last but not least, making the magic happen, JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are, all five of us back together, or at least virtually. Trey, how was camping? Were there bass in those lakes that you were at?
The camping was great. The nature was great. Vacation was great. The family was great. The fishing was tough, Skeets. You know, all the local rednecks report that there's bass in that lake, but it is tough to catch them. The guy in the stump blaster truck with the Alabama flags told me, my daddy's been out here for 3 days. He ain't caught shit.
No.
And it was the same for me. I had a big topwater explosion on the Whopper Plopper. But that's it. That's one of the worries when you're fishing topwater, Skeets. You're going to miss more fish than you hit. Just short striked me. But hey, it's all about the nature out there. Wow. It's about the journey. It's not all about the lips sometimes. That's what you say when you're a fisherman and you don't catch anything. It's all something else's fault. You know, the weather was wrong, or maybe the location was wrong. It was a little too overcast. Maybe my colors were off. I'm not used to the clear water, whatever it was. There were bass in there. I didn't get them.
Are you telling me no lips were ripped?
Zero lips, my friend. Zero lips. That's but, you know, a giant lake. What are you going to do? We saw some bald eagles. It was awesome. We saw a whole bunch of carp jumping. Couldn't get them, but we were doing our best out there. And we honestly just had an incredible time. But yeah, I've been scouting other lakes in the region. You know, we were about 4 hours away in Tennessee, Center Hill Lake, no luck, but we're driving back. I see Chickamauga Lake, where the guys from Tactical Bassin just relocated. We're talking Matt Allen and Tim Little are there ripping lips themselves. I got to get out with those guys. They know what they're doing.
This guy is so into fishing. It's unbelievable. Well, okay, I'm sad to hear you didn't rip any lips, but that's okay. It looked from your photos or the videos I saw, the camping itself or the nature looked pretty incredible. So I'm glad you had a great week off. Yeah, this week's No Dunk schedule, just before we get into it here, this Wednesday, we're bringing back Squad. We got a good one. Halloween right around the corner. Can you believe it? Yeah, me neither. But we're doing a special Squad Halloween episode. We're talking candy. We're talking songs, movies, and more in our very fun draft episode. So that's coming up on Wednesday. Then later in the week, Lee, I think you're popping packs with somebody special. Am I wrong? You got an internet legend.
An internet legend, yes. The biggest San Antonio Spurs fan in the world, Shea Serrano, Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern. So look forward to that one. Yeah, it should be exciting stuff.
Okay, so we'll flip that into a podcast, I'm sure. Maybe on Friday we'll get that up. He was fantastic on the Who Wants Some Trivia with me, so I can only imagine he's going to be great popping packs.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And look, I don't want to lock in this other one, but we might have another special guest we're working on for another podcast later in the week. If we can land it, it will be great. Oh, that's your hint. That's your hint.
What are you cooking up there for us?
Let me put it at 350. Leave it for 35 minutes. So we'll see. It's not locked in yet, but we got Squad for sure. We got a pop and packs, maybe this other special one. But today, let's get right into the up-down report.
Prepare your tunties. It's the up-down report.
Yeah, the up-down report. We got a lot to talk about here suddenly, once again. And this one, JD, you may want to just walk away from this little news here. I'd love to hear your take later on. But on Friday, Shams and other reporters, they said that the league's board of governors is pursuing a December 22nd start for next season. Yes, pre-Christmas, like 10 weeks from now. Among other changes being discussed right now are a 72-game regular season, not waiting for fans to be permitted into the arenas, as well as tournaments and play-in scenarios. It's sort of all being discussed. The Players Association will have to agree on this. They're not going to have a lot of time. This is going to have to come together pretty quickly here. But Task, get us started. Up or down on an idea of a 72-game season starting December 22nd, 2020. What do you think?
I'm going up on it. I think it's what's best for the league.
Okay.
And I think we want what's best for the league, because originally the idea to push it later into January, February, or March was getting fans into the stands. And it's becoming very clear in the U.S. a couple of months isn't going to change that. I don't think the NBA ethically can decide that. And they're just deciding to be proactive here. They just can't wait to see if that turns around. It's not going to turn around in the U.S. anytime soon. So earlier means a lot of good things. They own Christmas Day, which would be, the second, third day of the schedule, whatever it is. They capitalize by going a day before too, because everybody's tuning in for opening night. Let's not do just Christmas Day as opening night. Let's go before, get both those, double up. So that's smart. And you match the old NBA calendar. They're going to basically rush the end of the regular season to be in April. So all those same days that we used to know, December, January, February, March, April, all the games played in there, and then the end of finals in June. Probably no all-star game, because again, that's not an ethically good idea to bring guys, fly them in, fly them out. You avoid playing in the summer months, July and August. We see it doesn't work for the NBA. Ratings go poof, and you get closer to a regular 21-22 than the following season if you can end in June, like the plan is. And they're cutting 10 games. I think we should all be pumped about that. I know everybody in the media is a little womp. We don't get our off season, but there's bigger things to worry about. And you cut 10 games, which we've all been asking for. So I think it works out. They've learned from other sports and how to control the virus in a format that's a non-bubble format. I'm going thumbs up. I know people are worried. I don't get my couple months off, but that's the way she rolls. I think it is best for the league to try and match up the old skid.
Yeah, I thought that at first, I'll be honest. I was like, oh, this sucks. Like, we've done 350 shows. We're going to roll right into another season here. At first, I did think that, and I did the womp. But then I was like, hold on. I ain't going anywhere anyway. And I think I'd rather have my summers off. So let's get back on track as much as possible. Get this season going. I'm with you, Tass. They've definitely are turning to, the experts, to science, and saying, no, you're not going to be having fans in your arenas, maybe in March probably. So why don't you just get started earlier? Yeah, and then we get back to more of a normal schedule, hopefully, whatever normal means in this world. And then, we got the summers off again. So I've come around on this a little bit, but what do you think, Lee? You a thumbs up or thumbs down on this proposal here?
Oh, definitely thumbs up. I mean, the better we get basketball back, the sooner we get it back, the better for everyone. I mean, I know that it's not the traditional break that teams have, but I mean, how long do these professional athletes really need to take off anyway? I mean, the season ended for two teams only a couple of weeks ago, so they got 2 months to get ready. I know there's, you need to prepare, you need to integrate everyone. There's going to be free agency and draft and all that, but really, you're playing basketball, so I think everyone should be able to get themselves ready to go by mid to late December there, and I think I'm excited for it, because otherwise we're facing the prospect of waiting another 3 months after that to get basketball started, and no one wants to wait that long, really. So, and really, ultimately, what it comes down to is what you guys are kind of saying there. The owners and the league clearly wanted to get fans back in the stadium. That's not happening. So then it's like, well, let's start getting paid whatever we can get paid, get these games on TV as quickly as possible. And I think December makes sense. And I think, Christmas Day is always a big day on the NBA calendar. Get a couple of games going first, have a big Christmas Day, and then get into the season. So, I still think the NBA, I would trim it a few games more. I would take a few games off and make it a little bit so then you don't have to squeeze quite so many games in. I think there's room for experiment there. But 72 is probably going to be what they're going to agree on based on the reporting. I mean, these things tend to be fairly accurate, so there might be a little bit of trimming around the edges there. But I would have tightened it up a little bit more and had a few less games, so that then you aren't, again, the less traveling, the fewer interactions, I think reduce the risk even more. But we'll see what the final equation is here from the NBA. But overall, a thumbs up. Very excited. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, again, the Players Association do have to agree to this. So maybe this is just some sort of negotiating right now. But I think it's going to happen because, Shams wrote, the league office told the Board of Governors that the projected value for teams and players with a December 22nd start versus a later start, in the 2021 year, is a $500 million difference. Money talks usually, Trey. So I actually think this might happen now here. What's your take, up or down?
Yeah, there's the equation for you, Skeets. If you start the season earlier in December, you get plus $500 million. So that seems like it's going to be a thumbs up from the league. Shams also mentioned in his reporting it's been important for teams and players to get back on a normal schedule, which allows the players to also receive their summers. Everybody wants to have something less to do in the summers. Everybody wants to. Some people want to go out and rip lips. Some people want to get better at basketball. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't seem like we're going to be able to be in stands even as early as March, so you might as well get that money. And we have to give the league the benefit of the doubt with regards to safety. The bubble worked. We learned a lot, from the bubble, from a safety standpoint, also from a game standpoint, also from a presentation standpoint. So now if they're able to settle on a date in late December, you still got a couple of months to figure out how you're going to make the games look good, because they looked good down in Orlando, but things are going to be different when you're playing in a real stadium that's been there for 50 years and now it's completely empty. But if you got 2 months, you can figure out ways to retrofit things with giant video boards or whatever the teams are going to decide to do to make it look like basketball again. So it just makes sense from a dollars and cents standpoint and from a safety standpoint, since it doesn't feel like 3 months is going to make that big of a difference in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, we're going to be seeing basketball again soon. It's pretty crazy. I was driving to Tennessee, listening to some classic No Dunks podcasts, and I heard Skeet say, why are we even calling this the 2021 season?
Yeah.
We're not going to be starting in 2020. Just call it 2021 season. It's easy for everybody. Next thing you know, we're starting in December.
Oh
Crazy.
my God. I know it's going to be like 8 or 9 days. I forget how many days are in December. We're going to have it the 2020-21 season. It will stay true to that. We talked about safety though, Tess. I think you slipped it in there. The league maybe has looked at some of these other sports, NFL, MLB, and have learned a thing about, hey, you don't have, well, they're not doing the bubble. Maybe they should be, but they can learn some things because it's not going all that well. Correct me if I'm wrong in some of these other leagues. And NFL specifically have had, outbreaks and games postponed and maybe missed and stuff like that. And that is a sport that they're only playing once a week. So it's easier to make those sort of up if you have to and stuff. Like, I guess we're giving the benefit of the doubt to the league because they did such a good job of the bubble, but this is a different beast, right? This idea of like, we're playing in all these arenas and we might change the schedule to make it more like you go to New York and you play the Knicks and then you play the Nets and then, okay, you don't have to come back, but still you're putting a lot of faith in all of these players and all the staffs to not screw up, to not go out to the club, to not go somewhere they shouldn't. I mean, they're just not sealed in a bubble. It's not going to be foolproof, right? I think that's got to be a bit of a concern here.
Yeah, when you put it up against what they just did in the bubble, sure. But they also have, those other leagues to go off of. And it sure seems like they're not going to play the other conference at all. So your Eastern Conference teams, it sure looks like aren't going to play the Western Conference teams because it makes it easier to reschedule. If you do have a little bit of a boo-boo and something happens where you have to cancel a game, it's easier to go get a quick game in if you're the Brooklyn Nets, probably in Philadelphia or somewhere close, rather than have to fly over LA later on in the schedule. If you can just shove it in on a March day, it makes it better. It makes it easier, I should say. It looks like that's going to happen. They're learning. And yeah, it's not as easy as a bubble. Maybe there'll be a bubble for the finals, perhaps, something like that. Or maybe we'll even have fans later on in the season. I think that's not something they are, canceling right now. But there's a reason that it's also 72 games because that satisfies all the TV providers, because that gets to a number where that's the same thing going into the bubble, why they got all those seeding games. It was because they needed teams to get to the 72 game mark approximately to make all that money. So it's a lot. There's a lot of factors. And yeah, there could definitely be a positive test here or there. But it sure looks like the Lakers aren't going to be playing the New York Knicks this season. And the reason is because it makes it easier to shove it in there if somebody does have contracts the virus and that game has to be canceled, like there has been in baseball and the NFL. That's just the way it is right now.
Yeah, that's fascinating, though. You don't think like the Eastern Conference teams will be playing the Western Conference teams at all?
According to John,
that's like a lot of games versus your own conference, right?
Yeah, it looks like you're playing. If you're in your own division, you're playing each team 8 times. It sure looks like, and then the rest of the conference 4 times. So a lot of that, and it reduces the travel, right? So the New York Knicks will play the Sixers if they're on the road. You have a little 2-game series. Come over, have a little 2-game series. There's going to be a lot of that.
But you look at teams like the Grizzlies, who are basically an Eastern Conference location. but they'll be playing in the Western Conference, so they'll be traveling. And then look at Oklahoma City as well. Like they're closer. Like there's so many teams in that sort of central line that just happen to be in the Western Conference. So, the traveling one, like teams are still going to have to travel long distances to play in their own conferences, certainly from the Western Conference anyway. So they're going to be on the road for long periods of time. So it's a bit weird. I mean, I know this is probably not the time to talk about it, but I've said like just scrap conferences and divisions. Just play each other. Like I sort of said it on Twitter the other day, play everyone once home and once away, 58 games. I think that's the best way to balance the schedule. And then you get the top 16 teams based on exactly how many you've all played the same schedule. Now, I know that doesn't fit the 72 game requirement for TV rights,
right?
But I think that's the best way to balance the schedule out and get a fair indication of who deserves to be in the playoffs. But I know that's not going to happen because that's cutting back an enormous amount of games, which is revenue, and that's not what the owners or the players want. So it won't happen. But in theory, I think that would be the best way to approach it.
Yeah, sure. This is going to be wild. I mean, the draft is obviously still scheduled for November 18th. We don't still know when free agency is. Hollinger is guessing it's basically a week after, because some people thought it'd be early December. That feels like it's got to be pushed up a little bit. Then are there training camps? When are those
summer league?
Yeah, right. Fall ball is done. But it's going to just happen so quickly here. And you wonder what type of effect that could have on teams and their ability, or maybe not, to build rosters, right? To switch things up by trades or stuff like that. I just wonder if that has any sort of trickle down effect on whoa, there's a little sort of too much going on here. Well, let's just stand pat. This is going to be a weird season as it is again. So let's just not do anything drastic. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be the opposite. Maybe it'll be just craziness happening. But one thing I said there in the intro, play-in scenario still in play, right? We saw that, of course, in the bubble. If you're a certain distance behind the 8 seed, well, then you trigger this sort of the Mega Bowl, as we called it. And if you were the 9th seed, you had to beat them twice and stuff like that, as we saw. Trey, do you like that idea of them continuing to keep that, or would you change it at all? What's your take on that whole thing?
Yeah, I like it. The play-in tournament was super fun, and watching the Blazers claw their way back, watching the Grizzlies collapse a little bit. It was fun, and I guess probably not if you're a Grizzlies fan, but it was exciting for the other 29 fan bases to be watching. So yeah, it makes sense to run it back sort of with the play-in tournament. I don't know if you want to keep it. I think it was 4 games out of the 8th seed was the cutoff for this, but that was just kind of a circumstantial thing with where the teams were prior to the shutdown and everything. So maybe you change it to you got to be within 1 game of the 8th seed to get into the Mega Bowl tournament. There's got to be a little bit of tinkering with the exact specifications of it, but it was very exciting. And, for a game that ultimately meant nothing, the Blazers ended up getting smoked by the Lakers in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. That game, though, was awesome. That was it was totally worth it, and that kind of thing will drive ratings, and that's another way, another branded thing that you could sell and get a little bit of that revenue back as well. There were a lot of things from the bubble, and I think that the play-in tournament certainly was one that worked. So yeah, bring it back.
Yeah, I'm with you. Tass, you agree, or would you expand it? Maybe even would you include the 7th seed? If your particular game's close enough to them that it is more of a tournament, or do you like the way it was? What do you think? People say 7 to 10. The seed 7 to 10 could be playing in some sort of tournament if they're close enough again.
That's the traditional format that people wanted, right? Am I correct? 7
I think so. I remember that was one of the first ones I felt like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, last year, as Trey alluded to, or last year, when was it? A few months ago, when they brought in the Suns, who went 8-0, it worked out well, and they brought in the Wizards. Yeah, that was just this year. This is the way things are, and we're trying to be fair. So
but it was a success, though, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
We talked about, yeah. So why wouldn't you do it again? Yeah,
yeah. No, I'm just mean as far as the nitty gritty. Are you going to bring in the Wizards who are 5.5 games back, or the 11th seed or 12th seed? They brought in 12 teams in the Western Conference, right? Or was it 13? They brought in 13.
I think it was 13 and 9 from the East.
Yeah. So they're not going to bring 13 teams. That would be nuts.
Wow, was it 13? Where the Kings weren't? The Kings were there. You're right. The Wolves and the Warriors were the only two out there.
Suns were the worst team.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So Lee, what do you think? I assume your thumbs up on this idea.
Oh yeah. I think it worked so well, and the NBA experimented. They took the opportunity to do it down there, and it was successful. Now, not every single play-in game is going to be as exciting probably as it was that time, but I think these are the sorts of things you've got to try now and see if they do connect with fans, because I think it does also keep that race alive at the bottom. Mm-hmm. And now ultimately the Blazers, they won one game off the Lakers and they lost, but we were still excited to see them make that chase. And it came down literally to the last game. Remember, Phoenix were hoping that the Blazers would lose to the Nets because then the Suns would have gotten in. So it really, there was so much excitement in those last few games that led into it. And that's really what the NBA needs. That's one of the biggest problems the NBA has is teams that are basically tanking when half the season is still going on. You need to keep as many teams hopeful of making the playoffs as possible, and I think the play-in tournament does that. So yes, I would probably expand it a little bit too myself.
Yeah.
I would
But
add
wouldn't
another.
it be less exciting even in this bubble scenario if the Suns were guaranteed to make it? If they were one of the 7 through 10, it wouldn't have been as exciting seeing them go undefeated. They would have been in there already. They wouldn't have even had to try in that last game. That's why, to me, we don't need 20 playoff teams. That's way too many. 18 is too many. 16 is too many. But at least 18 is less than 20. Personally, I would keep it to the 8 and 9. You don't need to go super deep. You're going to be asking teams from the Eastern Conference who have 30 and 31 wins to come in and try and win a couple of games in a play-in tournament. Maybe it would be exciting, but I don't know. That just seems a little bit too much of a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. My point is you want to try to keep as many teams competing for wins at the end of the season, which is a problem, because and I know that the draft isn't the same as it was, and in terms of your lottery odds of getting the number one pick, but there is a problem I think still that exists within the NBA where a lot of teams just basically mail it in, early into the season when they're looking ahead to the lottery, and I think you want to try to avoid that as best you can. There's probably no perfect system. But
the flattening of the lottery odds was a good start.
A good start, yeah.
Right.
And I think they will keep tinkering with it as well. Yeah. I think Adam Silver has shown that he wants to try to improve it. And again, he always references the soccer leagues in Europe. And one of the things they'd have is the relegation battle, which keeps all those teams battling for life right up until the last day of the season. Now, it's not quite the same in the NBA, but that's what he's trying to achieve, I think. And I think he'll keep trying to work on it.
And I remember Trey saying this at the time of the bubble. Let's not forget. Maybe a big reason why it was so exciting, or all the games felt exciting, is because we told the 8 crappy teams to stay the fuck home. Don't even show up. I mean, let's not forget. Those teams will still be around in these weird regional bubbles, wherever the heck we're doing here. So it's going to be a little bit different. I was asked this question before we move on here, Tass. I want to throw it at you on the Dishes and Dimes podcast last night. I hadn't thought about it. Word is, you said it, we're not probably going to have an all-star game. That seems weird to do, to bring everybody from all over the country into one spot. Seems like a possible spreading event, super spreading event. So do we still name all-stars? If there's no all-star game, will they still do the whole, here's who makes the all-star game, here's the voting and all that? What do you think?
100% yes. It matters. Those all-star little marks on the Basketball Reference page, just to have that little icon up there. Yeah, it matters. And it matters more than the actual game itself.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So I think so. I think you got to go through the.
It's the accolade, it's the recognition, and it's also sometimes in clauses in contracts. So I absolutely think they will name it, and they just there's no point in playing the game. So
it's also content, which the NBA is obviously going to want. You want to hear us debating, and every other show debating about who's an all-star, who isn't. Oh my God, that was my answer last night too, Tass. I was like,
they can still create the jerseys too.
Sure, sell them as well.
Do the whole draft, do it and then play the game through the E-League or something like that. There are options they could do. I don't know. Maybe you could virtual reality into it. Who knows what it is? They'll at least name them. You got to get the patches.
Yeah, okay. So we're all on board with that. And then I guess there was some talk too, right? Maybe it was Windhorse saying there's a potential that they just give them two weeks off in the middle of this weird season, just for the players to rest. It's just
okay.
Is potentially a good thing. That's the other part here. We don't know how jammed in this 72 game season will really be. You would assume the league is going to try to avoid what was happening obviously back in 2011 when it was back to back to backs and stuff like that. The league doesn't want anything to do with that anymore. But how much will players load manage, which they do already? Will that even be more? Or will they be able to make this schedule not that bad? Because like you guys are saying, there's not as much travel. There's not as much competing events in some of these arenas. There's, in theory, there's not a Rihanna concert going on in the same arena. So it just might be easier. Who knows? But let's looks like we're getting basketball back pre-Christmas, which is wild.
I know. I almost feel bad for a team like the Lakers, who you assume will be playing on Christmas. They just spent however long in the bubble away from their families. Now they finally get back home. They have to start playing basketball right away, and they're missing Christmas. That sucks.
Yeah, that would suck. And you wonder if that's what the Players Association will push back on. Like, God,
we want to open presents with our families.
Well, yeah. I mean, we just went to Orlando for 3 months, for crying out loud, 4 months, whatever it was. Like, at least give us until the new year to start it back up. But, then they say, well, okay,
sure. You want to buy Christmas presents?
Yeah, exactly.
I know it's tough for the Lakers. I know it's tough Christmas Day, but it's worse for the Toronto Raptors, who won't be playing in Toronto most likely. They'll be playing all 4 months in the U.S. most likely, because they won't be flying back and forth.
Yeah, obviously, still waiting.
Just like the Toronto Blue Jays did. What is it? That's what's going to happen.
It's not 100% yet. I guess they're changing some testing protocols at airports and stuff like that. I mean, is it? I'm with you. I mean, it's definitely in play. They could be playing in Buffalo or Kansas City or wherever they pick. Maybe they put them in New York and it's easier there or something like that. But I guess there's still a possibility that the Canadian government, in working with them, can allow it somehow where it's still safe, where these teams fly in on their private planes anyway and just go to the arena and play and then leave. I mean, I guess it's possible, but you're right, Des. It could be playing in some weird city in America. It sounds like it's not going to be Louisville because they're saying we're not going there. But it could be somewhere else, like you said, Buffalo or something. So yeah, we'll see. This is going to be great. Who does this benefit if they start early or late December, I guess? Does it benefit teams like that were just playing, like the Lakers or Heat, or does that suck because they were just playing, so in theory they're tired? Like, some of these teams haven't played in forever. Since
March. It would be nearly 9 months in between actual NBA games. I guess it would favor the teams that have most recently played, because they've had gameplay. And you can practice all you want, but nothing replicates what it's like to be out on the court. So I think the teams that, not necessarily just the Lakers and the Heat that went to the finals, all those other teams that just got reps in and got familiar with their players again, I would say it would benefit them.
And before we move on from this, JD, what do you think? Pre-Christmas start. Big fan, I assume. Thumbs up?
Yeah, well, at first I was like, well, this definitely tracks for 2020, I mean, just it's a game of stamina, and I think that's as you say, that's it's going to benefit. And we all have our ways of coping with the grueling schedule, and I've got this.
For those listening, JD just took a nice swig of some, I believe it was Johnny Walker Black there, if I'm not mistaken.
Johnny Walker Black.
Oh, very nice. Wow, it's
down a little too easy.
Yeah, it's 10:30 in the morning, bro. All right, we'll survive, JD. We'll survive.
Yeah, that's fine. You're never going to hear me complain about working. Not in this environment. No. I'm happy to work.
This isn't really working anyway.
Right.
Let's be honest, for us. Feel bad for the people that actually got to work. All right, well, let's keep moving. Unless there's anything else to add to this, guys. No, let's go to the next one. If the Celtics look to deal Gordon Hayward this offseason, they have at least one potential trade partner, according to SNY's Ian Begley. Hayward's hometown Indiana Pacers are potentially interested in him. Now, we're of course waiting to see if Gordo picks up his $32.4 million player option he has with Boston. He's expected to opt in. He's a 30-year-old forward with injury concerns. You're probably not going to pass up the $34 million payday, but hey, maybe you want to sign a long-term deal. Who knows? But up or down on the Pacers trying to trade for Gordon Hayward. Trey, get us started.
From the Jazz to the Celtics to the Pacers, sounds about white. I'm up on this. Joking aside, it feels like the Pacers are a little bit in flux this, whatever we're calling this offseason. You want to say summer, it ain't the summer, but they're certainly in flux. They hired one Nate out, one Nate in. Skeets, pronounce this name for me, Bjorkgren?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, that's how I'm saying it. Yep.
Yeah, I heard you say it on 1.5 speed, so I wasn't sure if I totally nailed it. But they got a new Nate in town. Victor Oladipo allegedly wants out. He might be looking for a trade. They might actually trade him. So certainly there is some allure bringing home a hometown guy in Gordon Hayward, who played basketball there during his high school career, during his college career. And, now he could obviously continue his pro career there as well. And I think he actually fits a little bit as a piece, as if you assume that that Victor Oladipo is no longer a Pacer, along with Malcolm Brogdon, Domantas Sabonis. Those are all guys who can kind of play with the ball, play without the ball, make good decisions, make plays, and score on their own. He would have a bigger role, I think, on the Pacers than he would on the Celtics, but still lesser than he did on Utah, which is probably exactly where Gordon Hayward needs to be right now. He's not necessarily a number 1 or number 2 guy, but he can definitely help as a secondary, tertiary creator in that sort of realm. But yeah, I mean, it seems a little bit like a marketing ploy. It definitely feels like anytime Gordon Hayward is going to be available, the Pacers are going to be rumored to be in the mix for him. But I think it could work out if they're ready to move on from Miles Turner. The Celtics could be interested in a big guy like Miles Turner. They've got to do a lot more contract matching. Maybe you need to get a third team involved. TJ Warren could go somewhere else because you probably don't need him if Gordon Hayward's around. But it sounds funny because it's Gordon Hayward and Indiana and the Pacers, but it makes a little bit of sense, I think.
Okay, a little bit of sense. Tass, what do you think?
Totally. It looks like two teams that have been rumored forever to be wanting a couple of certain things could have a match right here, especially with Victor Oladipo rumored to be out of there. So if you trade machine it up, Victor Oladipo and Miles Turner could be traded for Gordon Hayward and Daniel Tice. Makes sense. Indy could move on from Oladipo anyway. If you could get Gordon Hayward for him, a guy, they have been rumored for a long time to be wanting. So that kind of makes sense. Miles Turner as a Boston Celtic as their center definitely makes sense. So I know it's a bit of a reach, but it's one of those things that we've been talking about forever. Boston wanting a big, Gordon Hayward going to Indiana. It almost seems too fitting, but it could happen. It could happen here.
What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, Gordon Hayward's a very good player, but the injury concerns do sort of limit what you think his best can be. I think for me, in the bubble there, he got injured, and when he came back, he was okay, but he wasn't really super. So you just wonder exactly what the best role is for him. I think he is a nice complementary piece on the Pacers right now. If you consider everything, assuming that Oladipo is out, I think he's a good fit for that team. But I also don't think he really elevates them sort of to a greater level than they really were at. So I'm really struggling to figure out exactly just how good he is and what his value is, because he at his best,
it's not $34 million.
No. But then he had a good year. He had a good year. He did have a good year, and coming off the bench, he's a team guy. He can come off the bench and he provides a steady hand. He can, at the end of games, I like to have him on the court. But would you, if you're the Pacers, if he says, okay, I'll opt out of this contract if you give me 4 years for $100 million, would the Pacers do that? At 30 years old, $25 million a year. I mean, that's kind of, I think that's the kind of contract he could expect.
If they have somebody who wants to be there, sign him up.
Yeah.
It's the Pacers.
Interesting. So we'll see. Yeah, is there something to be done between the Celtics and Pacers here with either Turner or Oladipo, like you're saying? I think maybe, a lot of like crazy variations on this does maybe have to involve a third team for it to make sense a little bit more and make the numbers all work. But you tell us, let us know. What do you think about the Pacers trying to trade for Gordon Hayward? I wonder, does his barber come with them everywhere? Do we know that? Like, you got to include him? Is he on the books?
The Demon Barber of Fleet Street? I don't know if that guy made his way to Boston, but I'm sure he could get some haircuts around there. Everybody is happy to do the high and tight sides now.
Yeah, right. That's a good point. So we'll see with that, and it could be a very crazy offseason, like I said here, with the quick turnaround. So we'll see. I would expect him though to opt into that $34 million. I'm still going to go on record with that one. But crazier things have happened. Okay, we got lots more still to get to. But before we do, quick word from some of our new sponsors.
I love cereal. I would pick it over any other breakfast food. Bacon and eggs. Greek yogurt, cakes in a pan, whatever. There's just something about that cold milk splashing into my mouth. It reminds me of being a kid. It's my comfort food. But I'm an adult now, or I pretend to be, just like these guys are pretending to be right now. And I've had to change my ways. Look, I love cereal so much, I'm still trying to make it work. You can find me in the cereal aisle, scouring the nutritional info of all the grown-up cereals. I bring a folding chair and just sit there reading box after box after box. I want that sweet, sweet cereal life without all the junk in it. Enter Magic Spoon. I've been all up in their nutritional info on their website. Check these stats. 0 sugar. What? 11 grams of protein to keep you full, and only 3 net grams of carbs in each serving. How does Magic Spoon cereals pull off those stats? I couldn't believe it. I'm a cereal connoisseur. Look, I won't give away their secrets, but they do. Right on their website. Go check it out. Don't be a monk fruit extract. Give this a try. Health specialists even recommend it. Cereal flavors like cocoa, fruity, blueberry, and my favorite, frosted. Get out of here, Tony the Tiger. You have been replaced. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO-free.
Wow.
Go to magicspoon.com/nodunks to grab a variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code NODUNKS at checkout to get free shipping. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with 100% happiness guarantee. I'm smiling right now. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. That's magicspoon.com/nodunks and use the code NODUNKS for free shipping. We thank Magic Spoon for sponsoring the podcast.
Wow. So they figured out a way to take the cereal we loved as kids and just make it healthy. And now we can enjoy it as adults.
Yep, no doubt. People are doing it. We have alternatives for sugar now. Things evolve.
I'm excited about this. You know how much I love cereal as well. Now, I wouldn't go as far as putting cereal above bacon and eggs because you guys know I'm the egg man. But I do love cereal, Task, so I'm very excited about Magic Spoon coming on here. All right. What do you got first?
Real quick, from Mario Perez in the stream team. He says, milk before cereal or cereal before milk?
Oh, if you
milk
do
before cereal,
you're a psycho if you do that. Honestly, you need to seek professional help. That's insane. You put cereal in a bowl first, and you put the milk on, and then, as Tass said, it splashes in his mouth or something like that.
Love that cold milk splash.
All right, what do you got for us, Lily?
Yeah, well, we're all pretty fashionable, 30 to late 30 to very late 30s in some cases, guys. And one thing we're all known for, one way or another, is our hair. Skeetsy, pretty straight down the line, more or less the same way you've had it since I've known you, but you stay in your lane. That's fine. Tass gets a lot of attention. There's a grey streak in there, but some think it's there by design. It's true. And Trey's, well, like Forrest Gump said, this is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. A hair beret, the lumberjack look, and everything in between. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. Myself, I haven't had a haircut since March, and I'm going for the Michael Hutchins look right now. Whether I'm succeeding is a matter of opinion, but that's what I'm going for. And JD, well, his is often tucked away under a beanie, but that completes the bikey look that he's going for with that big bushy beard.
JD's killing it with the props today. We got Carrot Top over here today.
The point is, we all like our hair, and thanks to Keeps, we can keep it. Because did you know 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? The best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have hair left.
All right, Lee, you said 2 out of 3. There's 3 other of us listening to you talk right now. Who's it going to be?
Well, I'm over 35. Skeetsy, you're over 35. Cass, you're over 35. Trey, are you 35?
Yep.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay, well, sometimes the math doesn't figure out. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
It's the hot hair theory.
You can get treated from home here. So you used to have to go to the doctor's office to get your hair loss prescription. Now, thanks to Keeps, you can visit a doctor online and get hair loss medication delivered right to your home. They make it easy and deliver your medication every 3 months, so you can say goodbye to pharmacy checkout lines and awkward doctor visits. And prevention is key. Keeps treatment typically take between 4 to 6 months to see results, so it's important to act fast. The sooner you start using Keeps, the more you'll save. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/nodunks to receive your first month of treatment free. That's KEEPS.com/nodunks.
Awesome stuff. All right, let's get back to the up-down report. This one's great. Longtime Sonic star Shawn Kemp. He is set to open up his own dispensary in Seattle this month, a move that will make history in the city. Kemp's shop, named Shawn Kemp's Cannabis, will be Seattle's first Black-owned dispensary. Shop will be located downtown near the iconic Space Needle. So up or down, Lee, we'll go to you first here. Up or down on Shawn Kemp opening a marijuana dispensary?
Of course I'm up, but everyone out there on Twitter is asking, why isn't it named Shawn Hemp? Really?
Yes.
That's the biggest question here. But all jokes aside, this is very good news for Shawn Kemp, a superstar player during his days. He fell on some hard times afterwards, and now he's getting back on his feet and providing a business and a service that is very helpful and very useful. And he's not just sort of going in this like without doing his research first. He's partnering up with a couple of guys who are experienced in the industry, and he's trying to make this as successful as possible. And he's also right now under the social distancing protocols, he's making it so that you can go curbside and pick up what you need. And I just think this is a great initiative, especially, again, you mentioned their first Black-owned dispensary, which is a very, very good thing. And he's, somewhat of a pioneer in the industry. So we wish him all the best. He's a legend still in the Seattle area. And hopefully this works out for him. And again, this is a serious issue that really it's good to see somebody who's a known person within their city taking a lead on something like this. And obviously we hope it all works out for him.
Yeah, well said. Trey, I assume you're thumbs up, my man.
Yeah, I'm thumbs up. And a couple of people in the stream team are already hitting on what I was going to hit on. John Schumann, I know he was wearing a big pun shirt when he was on the show. He's dropping a big pun, no surprise. John Schumann says there better be a weed variety called the Lister Blister. I 100% agree. Lewis Henderson hits us with the Strain Man. That's really good too. There's a lot of great built-in names for weed strains that Shawn Kemp can bring to the table. Those two, obviously, Supersonic sounds good. And honestly, if I was going in there perusing the wares, I'm definitely going for a baggie that says Fat Shawn on it. Stick that up and just chilling on the couch. Sign me up.
Him in a Cavs uniform on the bag or whatever. Yeah, I like that. Tass, thumbs up or thumbs down on Kemp here and his marijuana dispensary in Seattle?
Thumbs up. Gary Payton will be at the ribbon cutting. I think it's this week. And I guess it's the first Black-owned brick and mortar dispensary in Seattle, because Gary Payton launched his own cannabis company in 2009 called Canna Sports. And I think that's just an online one. Yep. And Gary Payton, Shawn Kemp, still boys. And so I'm sure Shawn Kemp took his time and learned a bit from Gary Payton's mistakes, if he had any. I don't know. I haven't really looked into Gary Payton's situation there, but I'm sure they're buds, and he's going to have a successful business along with his a couple of his business partners that were outlined in the article there. So good luck to the Rain Man, to the Strain Man. Go do it. That
was another nice big pun right there. I'm sure they're buds. Also, smart move by Kemp too. I don't know if you guys saw the photo in the article. Unmistakable, this place. There's like a 30 by 80 foot mural that looks wicked of the Rain Man, like in all in Sonic's green and stuff like that. It's done, I guess, by a local muralist, Jeff Jacobson. It looks incredible. You're going to go there just to take photos of that as it is. And then, hey, you're right there. Might as well pop in and get some some delicious treats for you a little bit later. So great call. Thumbs up. I don't know how you'd be thumbs down on this one, except you're right. I mean, it's sort of smart just going Shawn Kemp's cannabis because, you like the name recognition, right? But Shawn Hemp is so good. The Strain Man, all this stuff is fantastic. It's like, and we love our puns. So that would go next level if he had gone that route. But congrats to him.
There's time. There's still time.
There's time.
He'll get a team of them in, call them the Super Chronics. like Fred Matt Katz brought that one up. Got to give him the credit. He is a pun master.
I love it. All right,
how
next
about
one.
A nice a quarter ounce of Nate McChillin.
Oh, man, we could make this its own podcast. Come on, maybe we will.
Get Shawn Kemp on and just pitch him strain names.
Great idea. I love that idea. All right, next one here. It's been nearly 2 months since the Nets hired Steve Nash as their new head coach. 2 months. Hold on, that can't be right. Has it really been 2 months since Nash got? That seems wrong. But anyway, I probably wrote that wrong. But he made his first hire for his staff, big name at least. Over the weekend, Shams reported that Amare Stoudemire, who was teammates, of course, with Nash and Nets general manager Sean Marks when they were with the Suns, he's joining the Nets team. He's going to be in a player development role, so sort of like an assistant coach here. Task, get us started. Up or down on Amare, back in our lives, joining Nash and joining the Nets coaching staff?
Oh, give me an up. As he said, and Sean's reported, a player development coach. He just finished playing in his career overseas in Israel, where he was the finals MVP there in Israel. And there's some signs he'll be good at working one-on-one with guys. Denny Avdia, who's a top 5 prospect for the draft and played with Maccabi this season and played with Amar'e, said he loves working with guys, trying to make them better, trying to get them involved. So it sure makes sense. Jared Allen being a better pick and roll partner for Kyrie Irving could be Amare's huge task, as he did with Steve Nash way back in the day. And this is a lot of people are saying, well, Amare Stoudemire, no experience. Steve Nash, no experience. Well, it's one piece. Nash, I think, has to hire somebody with some coaching experience, some tactical experience beside him. There has
Jacques
been
Vaughn is still there, right?
Jacques Vaughn, yeah. That's definitely true. There's rumors about him, calling Dirk Nowitzki, calling Raja Bell to join him on the staff. But yeah, Jacques Vaughn will be there. So I think he still needs a little bit more experience around him. But Amare Stoudemire is going to love those philosophical conversations with Kyrie Irving too. Those guys are going to bro down for sure. So kudos to Amare. His career was a bit of a roller coaster going from Phoenix to New York, where he started hot in 2010, and then because of the injuries to his knees, he just wasn't the same player, and he kind of fizzled out at the end of his career in his mid-30s in North America. But he picked things up overseas, and he had a really, really, really great career. And I think he knows the pressures of playing in New York, if that helps at all with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Maybe it will with some of the younger players. I don't know. Fact is, he's got some life experience. Player development coach, I think, fits the bill.
Okay, what do you think, Lee? It seems like the Nets are creating a vibe over there. Like Taz said, it tried to get Dirk. You got Amare. It's like, don't worry about your coaching experience. We just want some cool guys to hang out. Maybe it works with guys like Kevin Durant and Kyrie. Maybe that's the way to go. Who knows?
Well, it's familiar people that Steve Nash knows, so I guess it's easier for him to communicate and get the message across of as what he wants Amare to work on with the players. So and good for Amare to sort of stay in the game, give back a little bit there. Yeah, apparently Dirk was asked, and he said he only really wants to coach if he's going to coach in Dallas. So
wow, that guy is loyal, man.
Yeah, exactly. So Nash struck out there, but no, I'm excited to see how this comes together because there's a lot of pressure, but there's a lot of talent on the roster as well. So this could be a situation where the Nets do quickly, vault up the Eastern Conference standings. It's possible with all that talent there, but it's also a little bit, combustible too, you would think, with some of those personalities on the roster. So I think Steve Nash is trying to surround himself with people who he knows, he's familiar with. He doesn't have to get to know them in terms of his coaching staff. And that should make things a little more comfortable for him. So you got to try these things and hopefully it pays off. Yeah,
I'm thumbs up on this just for the fact alone that a name like Amar'e comes back into our lives. And then suddenly I'm watching Amare Stoudemire highlights and I'm like, oh yeah, guy was amazing. A 6-time All-Star, but he played for a long time, and his highlights with Nash are next level. I mean, the Suns were one of the most enjoyable teams that I've ever watched play NBA basketball. I think that's true for a lot of people. But Trey, anything to add? I assume your thumbs up on this?
Yeah, I'm thumbs up. I feel the same way I did when Steve Nash was hired. I didn't really know that he wanted to get into coaching, but I'm going to be happy to see him on the sidelines. It's going to be weird seeing Amare Stoudemire wearing a suit every single night. That's going to definitely be a change. I always remember him as a guy in a cut-off jean jacket with the arms out, showing off the guns. Maybe he cuts the sleeves off his suit as well. I don't know. Whatever it is, there's a lot of old Suns who are also available right now. Mike D'Antoni's out there. Alvin Gentry's out there. Get the gang back together. See what Shawn Marion's up to. Let him teach some defense because you're not getting that from Nash and Amar'e. But it'll be fun to see him around.
Yeah, Tass, do you got an Amare Stoudemire Finals MVP report from your in-laws? Him playing in Israel there?
He was good.
He was good.
Was really good.
I still got it.
And to add on to Trey's fashion profile, he likes to wear hats. He likes to wear big brimmed hats. So he'll be walking into the arena with some chapeaus for sure, and handing them out. I can see him flinging them out to all the boys in the locker room for sure.
I was gonna say maybe it's a slick move to try and recruit Carmelo to come play for the Nets. Bring in a hat guy. We know Melo likes his hats. They could talk hats. And you said the Amar'e and Kyrie, I'm sure like they might bond over, just being interesting guys and having some unique thoughts on life. I'd love to see those two guys in a bathtub of red wine, like chilling. Like, remember Kevin Hart had his little show online where he get in a cold tub and do an interview? Amare should do that with red wine baths. First guest, Kyrie Irving. But you got to be in the same one. You got to be in the same tub.
And go to Shawn Kemp's dispensary just beforehand as well.
Sure.
Yeah, make it a real party.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah,
All right, next
there was a great caption of Amare sitting in that red wine saying to Kyrie, come into my office. And then jump in. Yeah, makes sense. Wouldn't it be the weirdest thing? Steve Nash being hired out of nowhere was very strange. But if Mike D'Antoni is an assistant for Steve Nash, wouldn't that be the absolute strangest thing?
That'd be weird. But also sort of I could see it happening.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
He had an assistant job with the Sixers right before he went to Houston, so he's willing to take a second seat, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think just task meeting would be
For
weird.
one of his players.
Having never coached, but who knows? All right, next one here. The Nuggets downtown sports venue getting a name change, guys. For the first time since it opened in 1999, the Pepsi Center is being renamed. It will be called, drum roll please, Ball Arena. Shout out to Turkaloo. Ball Arena. I've seen a lot of people mention that we've gone from the can, as they called the Pepsi Center, to the jar. Now being Ball Arena, Mason jar, I guess. Up or down on the Nuggets Pepsi Center being renamed Ball Arena, Lee?
Well, I'm up on it because it's not the greatest name in the world, even though it's a pun, of course, in the basketball world. But what it actually represents is this company is a leader, apparently, in renewable and recycling aluminium and things like that. I know. I was trying to read up and I was trying to get the words right. It's all about
aluminium
sustainability. So it's trying to make the experience a little bit more environmentally friendly for everybody.
Right,
so I'm thumbs up on all that. Okay, I'm thumbs up.
I'm thumbs up on what I have no idea.
I know, because it's not just this arena. It's basically the Arsenal Football Club in London, because the Cronkies own that as well. And there's another team as well. I can't remember who that is.
The Los Angeles Rams.
The Rams. There you go.
SoFi Stadium. I copied this here. Let me read it for you, Lee. You can say aluminum for me, though, because I don't know how to pronounce it. The partnership includes sustainable and environmentally friendly elements that will be established at Ball Arena, SoFi Stadium for the Rams, Emirates Stadium in London for Arsenal. They vowed to transition to aluminum beverage packaging, cans, bottles, and cups for 100% of the venue's concessions, with the goal implementing a closed-loop system by 2022. That's amazing.
Okay.
Those cups, bottles, and cans don't leave the stadium, go in the back, refreshed, and they're back on the line. Amazing. Amazing. And the recycle industry, whatever you want to call it, whatever that initiative is, that is phenomenal stuff. Phenomenal.
Yeah. I'll just say, I mean, the spelling of aluminium, it's an IUM at the end.
No, it's not.
I've got it right here. I'm looking at it. It's aluminium.
No,
But you're starting weird.
INUM.
They're different things.
Aluminium.
Maybe you guys are talking about two different things. I guess it's possible. We don't really know.
You got an extra I.
They're the same thing. They're the same thing.
There's no extra I.
Aluminum and aluminium. But in American and Canadian English, you're talking
there you go.
aluminum. For everyone else, it's aluminium. Fancy pants. Lee over here.
Sounds
no longer a
very
man of the
fancy.
people.
Okay, so
pronunciation.
Yeah.
Ball Arena, Trey. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Forget this initiative. All right. What about the name, man?
Well, it sucks for the Colorado Avalanche to have to play in the Ball Arena. That's brutal for them. These guys are using pucks and they're supposed to go out there and play their best. Come on. But yeah, it's a hilarious name. Along the same lines as the Hoop Stadium, the Game Garden, or maybe even the Sports Center. I'm up. Why not? Ball Arena? It's hilarious.
Yeah, I saw at Honey tweet, the Nuggets should trade for Lonzo, sign LiAngelo, trade up to draft LaMelo, and then run a bowl lineup in the Ball Arena. We need a fifth guy.
They got to do it.
4 guys, but they got to do it. That's an excellent idea. I love the name Pepsi Center, but I wonder what happens to the Pepsi product. Is it gone, you think?
No, it's staying there, apparently.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that part. Good to know. In the new aluminium cans. Yeah.
That's what they should change it to, the Aluminium Center.
Yeah.
Aluminum Center, aluminium. I don't know.
All right, so I've heard of aluminium cans, obviously. Aluminium bottles. They're everywhere now. Aluminium cups? Sounds a bit crazy. A little too far.
I saw a photo of them. They look cool. I wonder how cold that would be on your hand carrying that back from the concession stand to your to your seat. You might have to wear gloves when you go watch a Nuggets game.
Oh, you better be buying a Nuggets koozie. They're gonna have them in the gift shop for sure.
Smart. That's a really smart idea. Yeah, so you're right. Sucks for the Avalanche. It should be called the Ball and Puck Arena. That's what they should have called it. But, oh well, Ball Arena. See you later, Pepsi Center. Let's take one more quick break before we get to a few more up downs. What do you got, Trey?
Well, I had a bit of a sunglass mishap out in the woods. I broke my sunglasses, which I was only wearing because I broke my other sunglasses. And I know what you're thinking. Something crazy must have happened to break my sunglasses on a camping trip. Not so fast, my friend. They broke because I gave my wife a hug while I was wearing them around my neck on some croquis because it's all good. Not only were those sunglasses hand-me-downs from Skeets' wife, I also had a fresh pair of movement frames waiting for me at home.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah, and just like those glasses that used to be Nora's, these two are technically women's sunglasses. But don't fret. It's 2020. Men can wear women's sunglasses and vice versa. George Costanza was ahead of his time. These are the Icon model, and guys, I love them. They're polarized, so I can see the bass in the lake. They're high quality, so hopefully they won't break when I'm giving a hug. And obviously, they're stylish. My previous glasses made me look like MTV-era Ozzy Osbourne, maybe Geddy Lee. And these, though, these are pure Jerry Garcia, but it's not just sunglasses. Movement is also holding down the watch game. They've got a ton of styles starting at just $95 when similar quality timepieces would cost you upwards of 400 fin dogs just to know what time it is. With almost 2 million watches sold in over 160 countries, Movement knows timepieces are money. So head to mvmt.com/no-dunks today to get 15% off with free shipping and free returns. Movement launches new styles all the time, so check out the latest at mvmt.com/no-dunks to peep the products and get 15% off today. Join the movement.
Those look good, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you. You know, I've got a very skinny, tall head, so I can go with a skinny glass. just how I am.
That's how that guy moves with his movements.
That's right. You like seeing my light in the glasses?
I was gonna comment on that too. You got
like a
nice
robot
light
man.
Yeah, you do. Excellent. All right, we got two more here. Over the last week, The Athletic introduced Seth Partnow's player tiers. I hope you guys saw this, breaking down the top 125 players in the NBA right now. So the 4 greatest players in the NBA right now, the 1A guys, according to Seth's metrics, are LeBron, Giannis, Harden, and Kawhi. Curry and Durant right there in the 1B category. They're 1B dudes. But what really set the internet on fire, Anthony Davis, not in the 1A or B or C group. He's a tier 2 guy. Anthony Davis, gasp. Guys, up or down on the Athletics. Seth Partnow slotting Anthony Davis in tier 2. What do you think, Tass?
Yeah, after what happened in the NBA Finals and Anthony Davis being a champion, I think just the recency of that led to the uproar of Seth's work. And so after 1B, it drops directly to 2A, where Anthony Davis is hanging with Luka and Nikola Jokic ahead of 2B guys and 2C guys. But let's step back from the finals. I think Seth, it's fair work. It's fair work. Basically, I think his biggest argument with him not throwing him in with Giannis, LeBron, Kawhi, Harden, Durant, and Curry is that he had 7 years in New Orleans. He only took his team to the playoffs twice. And although this work is kind of about the future, and if you look at next year, what tier are these guys in, it's kind of a detriment to Anthony Davis because he plays with LeBron James. And so it's kind of impossible to know whether or not he could drag his team deep into the playoffs like those other 6 guys who are at the top. He hasn't been able to do that. He hasn't been really an offense unto himself like those other guys. And obviously the criticisms will go right at Giannis. Oh, come on. He didn't do anything in the playoffs. Well, he is more of an offense than Anthony Davis is. That's just the way it's been. And Giannis, gets to the second round and gets bounced. People will criticize Harden. He has made a conference final on his own. He has gotten deeper. I think it is fair. He is splitting hairs, Seth is, and he says that in the piece. But it's a tough one to chop him down. I think the Luka Doncic one is even a bigger uproar, him not being in the tier 1 category. But you got to draw the line, and it's coming off him winning the finals. If this was coming off his first 7 years of his career, then no one would have a problem him being in tier 2. But LeBron kind of, boosts him into that stratosphere. But at the same time, if you throw any of those other tier 1 guys on a team with LeBron James, if Giannis, Kawhi, Harden, Durant, or Curry are on a team with LeBron James, they're running the finals too. So it's kind of, you can't work it both ways. I think Seth is being fair in this instance.
Okay. What do you think, Lee? Why don't you go? What do you think about this, even the tiers in general? Is it better than doing, hey, top 10, top 15? I sort of like it. I think it's sort of cool trying to slot these guys in. But what do you think of 80 specifically, I guess?
Yeah, well, there's no real way to agree across the board on these things because it all comes down to opinions and biases that we have towards our favorite players. But I'm going to judge it on what we know right now. And there's no way I would have James Harden ahead of Anthony Davis. And I'm not trying to say that because of my history with James Harden, but Anthony Davis, I can't believe anyone would pick James Harden over him as far as if you were picking a team right now, because Davis is a two-way player and he was sensational for the Lakers in the playoffs. And whether it's playing with LeBron or not, I mean, he's shown us for a while he has the talent, but now he had a platform where he really it really came out. So my opinion would be Davis, just because you could have two players from the same team in the tier 1, I would still do it. I think Anthony Davis has proven that this season. And look, there was pressure on him coming into this season because in the sense that, okay, now you're on a good team with good players, you have to deliver. And I think he did that. I think he did that very, very comfortably and very dominating for the most part in the playoffs. I mean, LeBron was fantastic in the finals, but Anthony Davis was not far away from just how good he was. And so for me, he's a tier 1 player. Okay, Trey?
Seth says in his write-up that this is tier 1C or tier 2A, and they might as easily be known as tier 1.5. But to me, Anthony Davis is the definition of tier 1.5. Like Seth is saying, like Tass is mentioning, he's not a guy who's going to necessarily carry your team offensively from a standpoint of give him the ball. He's going to be able to go get a great shot and get that shot. But he's a perfect number 2 guy who accumulates points and efficiency like a number 1 player, right? Like just from getting rebounds, offensive rebounds, lobs, just little plays where he's scrapping along. He's able to get you to 25 points per game in the NBA Finals, shooting 57%. He's obviously a number 1 guy on defense, a defensive player of the year caliber wrecker on that side. He's, for me, the biggest mismatch in the league. I have him clearly ahead of Jokic from having just watched the playoffs and the entirety of their careers. I think the two-way value that Davis gives you is a little bit more important than what you're getting from Jokic as a number 1 guy on offense and a little bit of defense. But he had his own team for a long time, and the success wasn't massive. Once he got alongside LeBron James, you saw exactly what he could be and the perfect role for him. He's maybe a little bit miscast as the ultimate number 1, give him the ball, go get a bucket guy, but he was even better with that during the NBA Finals. You know, he hit so many of those 18 to 20 foot jumpers, which if those are going to be dropping come the next season, then yeah, you're going to easily move Anthony Davis up into tier 1. But he's kind of in the perfect middle spot where he's the best number 2 guy in the league just because he doesn't have to be the best number 1 guy because he's got the best number 1 guy. So yeah, Steph's got him in the right spot. You could bump him up to tier 1 for me, or you could keep him right here at the top of tier 2. That's why he's 1.5.
Yeah, again, highly recommend if you haven't done so to do a deep dive on the Athletics Seth Partnow's player rankings here, the tiers. He did so much work on this. I think it's going to be really cool to see him hopefully continue to do this next season and see where guys like either bump up or fall out or stay in what particular tiers. It's pretty amazing stuff. This is obviously, because he's like a numbers guy, it's metrics based. Like you're going to learn a ton. So go check this out if you haven't already. It's on The Athletic. And let's hear from you guys whether or not you agree. Is AD a tier 2 or should he be up in the tier 1? Let us know on Twitter at NoDunkSync or let us know on the stream team here. Final one, JD, I'm going to go to you first, but I got to read this whole thing because it's amazing. The supposed plot of LeBron James' long-awaited Space Jam 2, A New Legacy, has hit Twitter. Sounds even more bonkers than the 96 original. No, a synopsis for the film was shared by a Hollywood writer and director, Ben Meckler. It reads, I'm going to read this whole thing because, again, it's incredible. During a trip to the Warner Brothers studio, NBA superstar LeBron James and his son accidentally get trapped within a world that contains all of the Warner Brothers stories and characters under the control of a malfunctioning, all-powerful force named AIG, played by Don Cheadle. With the help of Bugs Bunny, LeBron must navigate through a never-before-imagined world filled with iconic movie scenes and characters as they reassemble the Looney Tunes to rescue his lost son. Now to get back home, LeBron and the Tunes have to unravel AIG's mysterious plan and win an epic basketball game against digital gamified super versions of the NBA and WNBA's biggest stars as the entire world watches. So this is crazy. This leaked plot, if this is true, for Space Jam 2 could involve the entire Warner Brothers basically movie catalog. JD, up or down on, again, this leaked plot for Space Jam 2?
Well, I'm very torn because I hate Space Jam, as we discussed already on a previous episode of the show. But I love an Easter egg hunt, like I love seeing references and stuff like that in movies. So I think ultimately I'm up.
Okay.
But I mean, here's what we know for sure. Well, just based on there was some leaked footage from the rap party. So we're going to the Mask. We're going to see Jim Carrey as the Mask.
Okay.
We've seen Voldemort. So we got some Harry Potter in there.
Wow.
We have Jared Leto as the Joker. That's the Suicide Squad Joker, who it was revealed this week is coming back for this Justice League remake or redo, the Snyder cut of just who cares?
Okay.
And I looked on IMDb, and we've got in the cast, we've got 2 War Boys. So we're going to Mad Max. I'm excited about that.
Wow.
We've got Casablanca Fezman. So we're going to go to Casablanca. We're going to see them go to Casablanca, I guess. And there's somebody in the cast named Trinity. Well, that's the Matrix. So it's not Carrie-Anne Moss, but maybe it's the back of her head or something. So, I mean, and we saw the Pennywise from It. So it's like, okay, cool, I guess. I mean,
it's not feeling like much of a kid's movie anymore.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Right.
And it's not exactly an original idea because we've seen it in Ready Player One and Spielberg, right. They do this whole Shining thing and it's fine, I guess. I mean, who really did it well was the Avengers Endgame when they went back to their own movies, and that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
The Lego movie also they did a pretty good job bringing in all the Warner Brothers characters. I mean, but yeah, I'm up on it, I guess. What would be really cool? This is what I want to see. And then this will be the best movie of the decade if they do this. If they bring in alcoholic Ben Affleck from the Warner Brothers movie The Way Back to coach the team. Now that's next level. That would be amazing.
Okay. If we see the drunk Ben Affleck coaching this team. All right. So JD, you're up on it because you're at least intrigued by this.
I mean, I'm not going to go see Space Jam: A New Legacy. I mean, I'm not going to the theater to see that. When it comes on HBO Max, which I'm sure it will, I'll watch it, I guess.
We're going to have to review it, of course.
Oh, yeah, we should review it.
We're definitely going to review it. There will be a film session on Space Jam too. So
it's just is that guy? There he is. Oh, right. That's that woman. I remember her. That is, Sebastian and Oscar sitting watching like, ooh, I can't believe they went to Casablanca. That's amazing. Ooh, Dr. Zhivago, did you see that, guys?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, they just watched Borat. Did they like Borat?
My kids?
Yeah.
Oh, they loved it. Loved it.
See Warner Brothers?
No, Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, so Lee, what do you think about this Space Jam 2 plot?
Look, from the time this was rumored to the time we're actually going to see it, it feels like this has been the longest build up to a movie of all time. So I'm just hoping that it gets here soon and we can watch it and then trash it. Okay, so because everyone's going to trash it and just say, why do they even do this? Space Jam sucked. This one's even worse. Let's just see it, man.
Not everybody thinks Space Jam sucks.
I know. I didn't mind it myself, but that's the general sort of opinion is that people didn't like Space Jam. So, but also Kyle Kuzma is in this.
Yeah.
It's
Anthony Davis is in it.
Yeah, I know. Lillard's in it as well. I think
Yeah.
maybe James Harden. There's some, big names in there, and Cruz gets a run too. So it's,
And he's not even freakishly tall like Sean Bradley.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, if Boban, he had to be in it, really. And he's not. So, I think they missed an opportunity there.
Right.
Is
Really.
John Wick a Warner Brothers property? They could go back to him fighting Keanu.
I mean, the thing about Boban, he's such a great personality, and he'd be such a great character in that movie. So, I'm disappointed. But, yeah.
It's kind of a bummer that it sounds like they're having actual players play the game, which is, I don't like. I want to see Dirty Harry on the court. Like
Right.
Bruce
Yeah.
Lee, Enter the Dragon.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow. Okay,
He's not really dead.
Trey,
It's in a book. It's in a book. Yeah.
Trey, do you thumbs up or thumbs down on this plot?
I can't believe this isn't fake. I thought for sure it was fake based on this guy, what's his name, Ben.
Yeah.
He seems to be a bit of a Twitter jokester, and he is a comedy writer. This is a pretty funny synopsis that was written by someone, but JD's right. There is somehow leaked footage of all these super weird scenes. I didn't know that was out there. I threw in a quick Space Jam 2 leaked footage into YouTube while you guys were talking. This thing looks weird, man. And is there a chance it's going to be rated R if they're going back to the Matrix?
Right?
Are we getting an adult Space Jam movie? What the people have finally been clamoring for? This movie is not made for kids. That would be awesome if LeBron said, yeah, everybody that saw this when you were 11 years old, you're going to love it at 35 years old. Let's see it. Let's see the R-rated version.
Wow. Tass, finish this off. You up or down on this, man?
Only if Leandro Barbosa is the Roadrunner or something of that nature. I don't know. This is very confusing.
It's confusing.
So let's bring it up. It's hard. It's really hard, as JD was saying, to throw in all these characters as a. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I'll be watching.
But yeah, I guess if you're to believe this synopsis, you're right, JD. They're just going to be like popping into all these different worlds, right? Like that's what I get. Like, because it doesn't sound like Voldemort's going to be playing center versus LeBron and the Loonies, which is like that sort of sounds like it could be fun.
Yeah.
But why doesn't Voldemort just cast a spell in the locker room on the other team or
man,
something?
I don't know.
There's some integration. I don't know.
We'll see, guys. Let's hear from you. Thumbs up or thumbs down on this leaked plot for Space Jam 2. Let us know. Let's call it there. Friendly reminder, keep sending your questions for the next Beach Steppin' podcast. Email them in nodunks@theathletic.com. Tweet them in @NoDunksInc. Don't forget to grab your No Dunks merchandise at nodunks.com. Holidays are right around the corner, so don't wait. And we will be back, as I said off the top of the show, on Wednesday with a brand new squad episode, Halloween edition. We're talking candy, songs, movies, activities. There's an NBA angle to one of the categories as well. So join us on Wednesday. Are we going live with that, JD? What's the
sure?
plan
Why
with
not?
that?
I mean, might as well, I guess.
Yeah, all right. I didn't know if that was going to be a heavy workload for you, but it's a lot of production on that one.
Well, maybe we could scrap some of the production.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point. So, okay, sounds like we're going live. So join us at 10 a.m. Eastern on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube. Hit that little notification bell so you know when we're going live. Wednesday, 10 a.m. Squad Halloween edition. I can't wait to argue about Halloween candy with you guys. I am
the Halloween movie, man. Oh, that's gonna be debatable, I think, on a few of them.
All right, that's a hell of a tease. What are you thinking? Let's just get it out of the way right now. What are you thinking?
Well,
okay, Mrs. Doubtfire, she's in costume. It's not a Halloween movie. All right.
No, but okay, there's a dress-up scene in Philadelphia. I'm not sure if it's Halloween or just a dress-up party.
Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, Philadelphia is not a Halloween movie, and Bruce Lee is definitely dead. But he's not really dead. Did you know that? It's in a book.
Yeah. Embrace the day, people.
You could stay